Hey everyone, I'm Gurleen. I hope you're doing well. In today's video, we'll be discussing the trade plan for Monday, that is March 27, 2023 for Nifty and Bank Nifty, and a few select stocks which must be on your watch list. So stay tuned till the end of the video and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and do ring the notification bell so that you never miss an update. Right before we start, it definitely wasn't a usual day. As we discussed in yesterday's video that on an expiry day, the market had a meltdown in the second half and most of the trades were related to the unwinding of the puts. We discussed the negative sentiment unfolding and the market opened on a flat to negative note, and immediately after that a lot of noise was there without much decay. Now Nifty and Bank Nifty tried to move higher but went out of breath short after. We also saw news coming in that US government is going to investigate whether UBS and Credit Suisse have complied with the US sanctions on Russia or not. Now this happens to be a major negative news for the banks, and it has been almost 3 weeks that we are hearing some kind of bad news about banks, and the markets have been waiting for a positive trigger for quite too long. At the same time, another news started floating that one of the major European banks might be in trouble as soon as Europe opened. Deutsche Bank stock was trading around 5% down and currently it's at a negative of 10%. And thereafter, all banking stocks around the world started tanking, including Bank Nifty. Now, with all the uncertainty, nobody wants to go home with impulsive long bets over the weekend with the negative news floating around the banks. Also, there's a saying among traders that a market which closes almost at lows of the day on Friday, on a Monday, we might see a follow through coming in. So on that note, let's take a look at the technical angle. So here on the chart of Nifty, you can see that the index has registered a bearish candlestick below the harmonic potential reversal zone, which simply means that the selling pressure took over and Nifty closed at the lows of the day. Just yesterday, we also discussed that how this slow upside move from the lows looks exhaustive in nature. On the higher degree, once again, you can see that the index is still trading within this range of 16,800 to 17,200. So a fresh week is incoming, and what can happen over the course of the week? So let's take a look at the hourly time frame to understand the setup better. Now here you can see that we have a major horizontal support at the levels of 16,800, and it has been over a week that the index is consolidating within this range with a lot of erratic and volatile moves on both sides. Also, if you remember, we talked in the last video about not taking any impulsive long bets as Nifty had been continuously facing supply pressure at this zone of 17,170 to 17,200. Also, this harmonic pattern right here was yet to be triggered, though it's not yet invalidated, but with a broader weakness, it's only a matter of time before Nifty tests the lows once again. Now, if you see here, the fall might look stretched, and in that case, even if we see a pullback coming in on the upside, the hourly moving averages at 17,062 to 17,081 can be considered as the immediate resistances, along with the major resistance that is placed at the levels of 17,200. So the takeaway here is that more or less the index has been sideways with the volatility remaining elevated, and a potential downside would open up below this recent low of 16,828, which would invalidate this harmonic pattern as well, and in that case the index can test the levels of about 16,650. On the 15-minute chart, yesterday we discussed that a potential harmonic pattern might get triggered below this level of 17,045, and here you can see that Nifty spent some time in the opening range and then it fell aggressively on the downside. Now we are close to the harmonic potential target of about 16,871, and one possibility can be that we may see a short-lived bounce or a pullback as it's a harmonic potential reversal zone, but remember that it will only be towards the averages. Over here in 15-minute chart, the averages happen to be at the levels of about 17,025 and 17,055. Also, always remember to let the price action develop and then strike at the right time. On the larger scale, the support for Nifty is pegged at 16,871 followed by 16,828, and the resistance is placed at 17,080 followed by 17,200. Now let's move to Bank Nifty. So here on the daily chart of Bank Nifty, yesterday we saw selling pressure coming in from the 20 DEMA, which also coincided with the hourly harmonic level of 40,268, and Bank Nifty had logged a long upper wick, which meant that the price was not able to sustain at the higher levels and then closed at the lows of the day. Now today we saw a follow through selling majorly because of the negative sentiment floating around banks, as we discussed in the starting of the video. So we'll not really be ruling out the possibility of hitting further downside in Bank Nifty now that the overall sentiment looks weak. So here on the daily chart, you can see that the maximum downside levels for Bank Nifty are placed at 38,157 and 37,838. An additional confirmation to that would be the breakdown of the recent low, which is at the levels of 38,613. Now if we move to the hourly chart, you can see how the index reversed from the harmonic reversal level of 40,268 with a buffer and is currently placed below the moving averages. So here you can consider these averages at the levels of 39,674 and 39,680 as the immediate resistance levels to watch out for on the upside. On the 15 minutes chart, yesterday we discussed about a topping out structure wherein we already saw a breakdown below this level of 39,728, and I was expecting Bank Nifty to test the downside levels of about 39,360 and 39,145. So it has achieved the initial level of 39,360, and it also looks probable for Bank Nifty to even test the levels of 39,145, and thereafter we may see some respite on an intraday basis from this level towards the averages. So we'll keep that possibility open as well. Now for your reference, I've written the support and resistance levels for Bank Nifty. The support is placed at 39,145 followed by 38,795, and the resistance is placed at 39,980 followed by 40,268. Now let's move to stocks. So the first one is HDFC Bank. So here on the daily chart, you can see that HDFC Bank tested the 20 DEMA and got rejected from the same with a long wick on the upside. We've discussed this concept quite a few times now, and one thing to remember about candlesticks is that the relevance only counts at crucial levels of support and resistance. So here the 20 DEMA acted as a resistance with a long upper wick, and we can conclude that the bears snapped the gains towards the end of the day and the stock ended lower. Now today it has closed near the open of the day. So here you can see that we have a demand zone around the levels of 1540, and the first hit would be towards this very level, which also coincides with the hourly setup. So let's take a look at that as well. So you can see that HDFC Bank is trading above the pivot of 1555, and here if we see a breakdown, so a shorting opportunity can be looked at with a minimum risk, as the invalidation level happens to be around the levels of 1562, and an estimated target of 1540 can be seen at this counter. But it's a conditional bet and would only come into play below this pivot B. So the next one is ICICI Bank. As we discussed yesterday, that ICICI Bank reversed from the harmonic potential reversal zone and a short trade is running here. So for those of you who might have missed this opportunity, another one is brewing up here. If we see a breakdown of the moving averages and the pivot at 849.15, then we might catch a sight of the levels of about 830 at this counter with an invalidation level of 860. Well, that's the beauty of harmonics, that it enables us to catch reversals and not get stuck at the wrong side of the trade. Just like HDFC Bank, it's also a conditional bet, so wait for the setup to play out to trigger into the direction before hopping into a trade. So on that note, it's Gurleen signing off. Until we meet again, have a good time.